Hey y'all. Today we are going to use up some old milk. I have some milk that technically the best by date was the day before I made all of these recipes, and I had a gallon and a half. And I just needed to get it used up, so I just ran to the store, grabbed a few ingredients, and we made several breakfast casseroles. Another good way to use up old milk is soup. It's just getting warmer, and I tend not to want to eat soup during the warmer months. So I just opted to make some breakfast casseroles. I'll throw a bunch of this in the freezer. So yeah, let's make some stuff with some old milk. I do want to preface this by saying I smelled and tasted the milk and it was still fine. I just didn't want to waste a gallon and a half of milk. So the first thing we're gonna make is apple, cinnamon, pecan, French toast bake. I don't know what I want to call it, but the first thing you're gonna do is you're going to make your egg batter. That is 12 eggs and 3 cups of milk. If you're making a smaller batch, the ratio is 4 eggs to 1 cup of milk. So we're making a large, it's not baked in a 9 by 13 pan, but normally you would bake this in a 9 by 13 pan. So I'm doing 12 eggs, 3 cups of milk. You're gonna mix that together. Then you will add, I did 3 apples. It really depends on the size of your apples. If you get something larger like a Honeycrisp, you might just use 2, but I used 3 apples. I don't even know what type of apples these are. They were just like on sale for 99 cents per pound. So I used 3 apples, and then I threw in a tablespoon of cinnamon and 1 cup of brown sugar. I mixed that together really well. And then I sliced up half a loaf of Italian bread or French bread. Doesn't really matter which one. I'm pretty sure I used Italian bread. So I sliced that up, cubed it, and then threw half of it in the bottom of the pan with about a half a cup of pecans and half of this apple butter. The reason why I wanted to do it this way is because I want the apples to be evenly distributed amongst the bread. So I threw the apples, half of the batter on top of the half of the bread, and then I chopped up the rest of the bread, threw that on top, put another half a cup of pecans on top, and then I put the rest of the batter. The only thing I didn't do that I wish I would have done is usually I would push down all the bread so that it's all wet, and I didn't, so the top part's a little bit crispy. It's fine, it tastes fine. This also works really well as a freezer meal, and it also works really well as an overnight casserole. So like you can prep this the day before and cook it the next morning. Actually, it tastes better that way because the bread has more time to absorb all of the milk and eggs. But I've done it multiple times this way, and it doesn't make that big of a difference. But like I said, you're going to want to push all that bread down so it all gets wet. And then you'll pop it in the oven at 375 for, I would say like an hour and 15 minutes. And that's going to be gauged on, what kind of oven you have. It might be an hour, it might be a little bit longer. So about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes would be a good estimate. And that is it on that one. The serves 12. Next up, we are going to make a fruit frittata. I guess would be the best explanation for this. The base is the same, 12 eggs, 3 cups of milk. If you're making less, it's 4 eggs per 1 cup of milk. I'm going to mix that together. I'm using strawberries and they're a little bit tart, so I am using more sugar than I normally would. So I'm going to use 1 cup of white sugar, and then I'm going to mix that together, and then I'm just going to slice up a bunch of strawberries and bananas. I think I used about 4 bananas and, a little over a quart, maybe, of strawberries. I don't know. Some strawberries. I just used some strawberries. And then I also had one more apple left, so I went ahead and just diced that up and threw it in. You can use whatever fruit you want. I've done this with like blueberries and bananas, strawberries, or like that frozen berry mix. Peaches are really good. Uh, Apples generally are not my go-to in this, but I had some that I needed to use up. You could do like mango, peach, banana, literally just about any fruit combination is fine. I've never done this with like citrus fruit, so like oranges or lemons or grapefruit or anything like that. But yeah, you're just gonna slice up a bunch of fruit, and then once you get, a good amount of fruit in there, you're gonna mix it together and then just dump your batter over the top. I will say you are going to want to put a baking sheet underneath this because the more moisture that your fruit has, the more likely it is that it will bubble over. This one, the strawberries have quite a bit of moisture in them, so um, it bubbled over a little bit, but not a ton. But if I do this with peaches, it bubbles over a lot more. So, anyways, just a note there. You're going to just throw it into an oven, 375. This one takes a little longer, probably about an hour and a half to cook, just because, like I said, the berries tend to have quite a bit of moisture. So, this serves 12. Okay, next we are going to make peanut butter and jelly baked oatmeal. I'm going to start out with 4 bananas, mashed. Tip, use a meat masher. It works best. And then I'm also going to throw in a half a cup of peanut butter and mix that in with the bananas. If you mix it in later, it tends to not mix in well, so I would just suggest mashing it in with your bananas and then adding your other ingredients. I'm making a large batch, so then I'm going to throw in 1 cup of sugar, 4 cups of milk, and 4 cups of oatmeal. And then I'm going to throw in 8 eggs, mix that together, and you can actually throw in your strawberries, like slice your strawberries and put them in the put them in the bowl and mix them together with this batter. However, I wasn't sure with these baking dishes. They're a little bit weird shaped. They're like, I don't know, 8 by 10 or 8 by 11 or something. So they're a little bit smaller, but they are deeper. And I just wasn't confident that it was all going to fit into one baking dish. So you can mix in your strawberries. I just wanted to make sure it all was going to fit before I put in my strawberries. So I just probably mixed in about 2 cups of strawberries, just slice them, and then you throw it in an oven, bake it at 350-ish for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. That just depends on your oven. You just want to make sure it's like cooked through. There's no moisture in the middle. Because this has oatmeal, it usually, it usually takes about an hour because the oatmeal soaks up most of the moisture. So, anyways, that's all on that one. This serves 12. All right, next up we are going to make some banana pudding. That's just what I've always called it. We are going to make most of it right now and then we'll assemble it later, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the full recipe right this minute. So to make a 9 by 13 pan, you're going to need 2 boxes of pudding, and you're just going to make that per the instructions on the package. This particular package, which I don't think I've ever had one that's different, it's 2 cups of milk per package and then the package of pudding. So I used 4 cups of milk. Mix that together. You're supposed to mix it for 2 minutes and then put it in the microwave. Put it in the refrigerator, and it sets up within 5 minutes. So I just mix that together, put it in the refrigerator, and then I line the bottom of a baking dish with Nilla wafers. I'm not fancy enough to just lay them out on one layer. I just dump a bunch in there, make sure the bottom is covered, and then whenever the pudding is set up, I put about 3/4 of it over the top of these wafers that are laying in the bottom of the pan and spread that out evenly. Then I slice up a couple of bananas, spread that out evenly over the top of the pudding, put on the rest of the pudding, spread that out evenly, and then I crumble up the remainder of the vanilla wafers. I would say about 2/3 of the vanilla wafers go into the bottom of the pan and about 1/3 get crumbled up on top. You don't even have to buy the name brand vanilla wafers. I want to point that out. I bought the Always Safe brand. So, yeah. And then you just put it in the refrigerator and keep it. This will take us 2 days to eat. But it's still fine. Like it's 2 days past the best by date and it tasted perfectly fine both days. So, yeah, and that serves, I'm going to say 8 because that's not super thick. I don't know what the technical serving on that would be, but I'm just going to say it serves 8. Okay, next up we are going to make a double batch of just a veggie breakfast casserole. You can add meat to this if you want to. I just didn't really feel like frying up anything. So what I put in here is 4 cups of zucchini, a 12-ounce bag of frozen chopped spinach, and then just what I had left of my hash browns. I would say it was probably, like 12 to 15 ounces. Then I'm going to add, at the end, it will be a full 4 cups of milk and 16 eggs, just because I thought it was a little bit dry. And I'm actually just going to put these directly into the freezer. So after I get all my ingredients mixed, I'm going to divide that between 2 baking dishes and then just top each one with cheese. I think this was a 12-ounce bag of cheese, so it'd be 6 ounces per casserole. And then you can you don't even have to thaw them out. You can just take them out of the freezer and then put them in the oven at 350 degrees. And it takes about an hour and a half for them to cook all the way through from frozen. So anyways, I'm just going to throw those in there just because I'm already making 3 casseroles, which actually part of those will be going into the freezer as well. But anyways, I've already made 3 casseroles and I didn't want to make 2 more, so I'm just throwing these directly into the freezer for future use. And the milk will be just fine since it's frozen, and then it's going to be baked immediately, so it will be just fine. And that used up almost all of the milk. And then after I made this, I went ahead and made a batch of biscuits and gravy. And we ate that for dinner, and then we're eating some of the casseroles for breakfast, and we're eating the biscuits and gravy as leftovers. And at the end of that, I probably had 2 cups of milk left, and it should be fine to use in coffee over the next couple of days. So I successfully used up 1.5 gallons of milk that was getting ready to go bad. If you're looking for ideas how to use up old milk, give this a try. I'm sure I will be posting other videos similar to this one. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope you have an awesome week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, y'all.